Much like the first episode, the only thing that elevates The Walking Dead Michonne Episode 2 above the most basic of Walking Dead plot retreads is its heavy focus on the excellent character of Michonne. She's a complex survivor with physical power, intense guilt, moral ambiguity, and an unpredictability that keeps her interesting when the story is not. Throughout Episode 2, Michonne is faced with difficult, often lose-lose decisions that kept its routine people are worse than walkers theme from getting overly stale. My first major decision involved either staying with Pete and killing innocent people or letting him go and taking more of a pacifist approach. But it's of course not that easy. After making what I thought would be the less painful choice, I was appalled at the consequences and rewound to try the other one, only to find it was still seriously upsetting.
Michonne, no! What are you doing?
For the first time in the series, I acutely felt the sting of the moral difficulty inherent to surviving in that world. But it's all completely focused on Michonne. I only cared about the other characters when my decisions directly affected them, and that was mostly passing remorse. That's partially important since Michonne's guilt over the fate of her daughters deeply affects her, and I wanted to relate to that. But the other characters just don't feel fleshed out. They're either foils to Michonne or there to further her development. Pete, in particular, is an idealist to the extreme, which makes him entirely predictable and boring. His presence is at least helpful as a contrast to Michonne's more muddied sense of right and wrong. It would have been more effective for me had Pete been more of a three-dimensional character, because leaving him behind would have been an even more difficult choice if I didn't feel like I knew exactly what he'd say even if he weren't actually there. I was given hope for improvement in the third and final episode by a bit of a revelation toward the end that makes the characters feel a little more complex. Suddenly, not everything falls so easily into good and bad categories, and there's room for the story and characters to take a more interesting turn in the finale. For more on all things Walking Dead, stick with IGN.